no. Oh, no. The mic wasn't on. The mic wasn't on, but now it's on. Okay, we are... Mike! Hello, everybody. How are we? We are in the middle of Q and Assault. That really took me for a ride there, not having the mic queued up. But now you guys can hear me. I'm waiting for the chat to start coming in. Can you guys hear me, see me? I don't see a single chat bubble coming in. That's because I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I see the chat. The chat's everywhere right now. Y'all are the GOATs. Every Saturday we come in here, Q and Assault for the Big Dog members. This is a private live stream, and you guys get to ask me any questions that you may have about your lineups, it starts, waiver wire, trades. It don't matter. Saturdays are for the big girls. Yeah, I already know that. Dave know that. How we down? Put your questions in the bottom left. So if you're watching this afterward and you just want to skim through, we could do that. We could do that. We could do that. And as always, while A.J. Brown's a cone and T. Higgins is a cone and all these motherfuckers are cones and can't stay on the damn field, CeeDee Lamb, not a cone. Underdog Fantasy, non-cone, all right? They're giving you an absolutely free square right now. If you're a first-time depositor on Underdog and you use our code BDGE, they're giving you the free square, 0.5 yards, literally half a yard. It's a free square. It's a free winner. It's free money. It's free mortgage paid. Hey, you down. Underdog Fantasy promo code BGE when you download that thing. Let's get into the questions. How we doing? What should I do with Waddle? My current receivers are CD, Waddle, Christian Kirk, Cooks, and Keon Coleman. Yeah, I mean, you're in a tough spot. I can't imagine people are going to be trying to buy Jalen Waddle with the uncertainty of Tua. I think if you're trying to offload Waddle, maybe you could do it for something like flip position and go with like a Zach Moss, something that's like a lower tier cross position, because I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to kind of like slide that under the rug. When you do it position per position, it's a little bit harder to pull off trades like that. So if you are looking to get out from under Jalen Waddle, then I would suggest going for someone in that tier, where I don't think a lot of people like believe in Zach Moss, but I'm kind of in the tier of thinking that he's going to be a reliable piece for this offense going forward. You might want to do it after this week because they play Kansas City. I don't know if I have a lot of confidence that he's a big game this week, which could be good for you. But Tua, we haven't really heard anything. If I had to guess, Tua's probably out for the next 2 to 4 weeks at the minimum. So with a backup QB, this offense ain't going to run very, very smoothly, and Waddle will be probably like a low-end wide receiver 3 at this point. I don't blame you for trying to move off of him. We have Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki, Schoonmaker. Pick 1 to stream. Okay, I kind of like both Zach Ertz and Schoonmaker. I don't really have a lot of faith in Mike Gesicki being any sort of consistent piece of this offense week over week. Last week he played on only 46% of the routes, so he is like pretty much just a part-time player. You got Zach Ertz going against the Giants, and he was an 80% route guy. And then Schoonmaker's obviously taking over for Jake Ferguson and his injury. So I expect him to be near a full-time player against the Saints. So I think if I had to lean one way, I think upside probably leans with Schoonmaker just in that offense. But I'd probably play it safe and go with Ertz here because I know he's going to be on the field for a very long time. Another one from Ali. Would you start Brandon Cooks over Sharps, Monty, or Najee? Asking because opponent has Dak, I have CD. Does it give it a better chance at winning than starting the 3 backs? I would just straight up start those 3 over Cooks. Those kind of things where it's like stack, my opponent's got this quarterback, etc., can be tiebreakers in some instances. But overall, those 3 are like a different tier for me. Sharps should get a workhorse role with Kenneth out. Monty's obviously just looked dominant behind the Detroit line. And then Najee's coming off like a 21-22 touch game, which I think we'll see a little bit more efficiency against a weaker Denver run D than we saw in Atlanta last year. So I would just straight up start those 3 over Mr. Cook and Staines. Robert said, I picked up Jordan Mason this week on waivers. Going to be a nice few weeks. Yeah. I mean, C-Mac just got placed on the IR, so he's out a minimum of 4 weeks. What a shitty situation. Another reason that we try to avoid players with injuries coming into the year, right? That's what makes them scary. In the Your Idiot League Mates League, I ended up taking Brees over C-Mac. The calf was a little bit worrisome for me. But yeah, I mean, more often than not, the injured players re-injure themselves. Obviously, there are circumstances like, Jahmyr Gibbs technically came into the year injured. Like, there are a lot of players that did and then just don't get injured, so you don't really think about them. But a lot of guys that came into the year injured. You got C-Mac. You have Puka. You have Jordan Addison. These guys who came in injured just end up re-injuring themselves, and you just hate to see it. Started Tua and Keon Coleman. Oh, God. That's fucking rough. That shit'll ruin your damn weekend. PPR, J-Mo or A.D. Mitchell? I really like J-Mo this week. First of all, he looked fantastic as their wide receiver too, running all the routes, getting all the targets and stuff. I think their game plan, obviously, in LA was to take away the middle of the field. So that was like Laporta and Amon-Ra. But J-Mo looked great, and this Tampa Bay secondary is really banged up. They're without, I think, 3 of their top 4 defensive backs, so I'm going J-Mo here. The weekly question. Who's my flex? We got Shaheed versus the Cowboys, Michael Wilson versus the Rams. Full PPR. Shaheed's coming off the big game. Scored the long touchdown. Michael Wilson also scored a touchdown, but only caught 1 pass. The matchup's obviously really in favor of Kyler and that passing offense. Something looked off there, though I think the Saints offense will come back down to earth. Like their O-line is in shambles. Their first-round pick might be out for this game. You got Micah Parsons, and you go against Carolina, look good because they don't have a single good pass rusher. So I think the Saints pass offense struggles in this one. I'm actually going to lean Michael Wilson there, the GOAT. Anytime I can give a Michael Wilson start suggestion on a damn Saturday in a Q and Assault's a good day. Still confused about Dobbins versus Najee, full PPR league. I was leaning towards Dobbins, but looks like you have Najee above him in your rankings. Also have Charbonnet as an option. So the rankings on the site are consensus. So they're not always just mine. So obviously Saturday you can come in here and get my personal opinion, although I trust the consensus of our guys, of course. It's a really close one. I think ultimately I lean towards Dobbins and the Chargers because I think their offense has more upside, and I think we saw him really involved in the passing game as opposed to like Najee, who really wasn't. You have Cordarrelle, and I think as the weeks go by, we see Jaylen Warren probably get more involved in the passing game and that role start to be more and more his. So the matchup against Carolina is about as juicy as they can come. I actually really like Charbonnet too. I think I just ranked him right behind Najee, so he would be the 3 there. But I would go Dobbins over Najee. I'd ride the hot hand here. Would you start Stafford or Fields this week? Oh, okay. So Stafford's a tough one. You're obviously down one of your top receiving options in Puka. They have a really good matchup against the Cardinals. However, they're down like 3 or 4 of their starting offensive linemen, which makes things tough. And they might rely a little bit more on Kyren for this one. Fields is kind of a fucking cone out there, but the upside is real against this Broncos team. That being said, I think I'd still probably play the matchup and go with Stafford against the Cardinals. Fields, you just really don't know what you're going to get out there. Stafford at the end of the day is going to sling the fucking thing. It might not look good, but I feel good enough with Stafford there. Which side would you do? Chase, Debo, and 2 firsts for Bijan and Marvin. Okay, so we are talking about a dynasty trade, I'm assuming. I hope so. Chase, Debo, and 2 firsts for Bijan. Oh, to me, that's pretty easily the Chase and Debo side. I think Chase and Marv are neck and neck in like a dynasty startup in terms of rankings where they'd go right now. I even feel like Chase might have the slight lean over Marv. And then you're talking about, is Bijan worth 2 firsts and Debo? And while I think that's like close, it's probably Bijan's price, I still would lean that side. So I actually think you probably get the best of that trade with just that entire side, Chase, Debo, and 2 firsts. Should I trade Laporta and Kirk? I'm going to assume that's Christian Kirk For Jahmyr Gibbs, Amari Cooper, and Dallas Goedert, full PPR. My team is Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Sam Laporta, Tony Pollard, Christian Kirk, BTJ. So you have, let me see what your situation looks like right now. Your receivers are Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, BTJ. It's pretty good. Your running backs are Kenneth Walker, who's hurt, Rashad White, Tony Pollard, pretty solid. And you have Laporta. So you would be moving Kirk for Cooper, which I think is a little bit of a wash. And then you have Gibbs and Goddard for Laporta, which I would definitely lean the Gibbs side here. And I think you probably need more help at running back than you do wide receiver. So I would lean towards the Gibbs and Cooper side in full PPR, yeah. Who is this? Who's on the Idiot League Mates YouTube? Which two should I start between Neighbors versus Washington, Dell versus Chicago, B-Rob versus New York? Man, I can't think of a game that I would want to have fewer parts in or involved in than fucking New York and Washington. Malik, for me, is a must start this week for sure. Like, if there's ever going to be a week you feel good about this dude getting a fuckload of targets, Daniel Jones not being a flat-out, like, fully developed cone, He plays well against Washington. Malik's my one here. I want to go back to Dell. I think B-Rob's going to be really involved. I kind of want to go back to Tank Dell, though, because he had a lot of air yards. I think he could have had a much bigger game last game. And those receivers are just going to cycle through big games between him, Diggs, and Nico. And I don't want to be the motherfucker that leaves Dell on the bench as he pops off. So I know this is actually sexy now. I'm thinking about the teams. And this being full PPR, B-Rob's probably in for a good game. He probably scores a touchdown, but I don't know how much upside we have with B-Rob here. So I'd probably lean the two receivers. But it's close between B-Rob and Dell. But I'd definitely go Neighbors. Kenneth Walker, doubtful. Yep, he's going to be out probably. Who do I start? Second flex. It's PPR. I have BTJ, JSN, and both Broncos running backs. So JSN for sure needs to show me, like, any signs of life here. In full PPR, we're seeing Jaleel be a lot more involved than Javonte, so I'd probably even give him the lean there. Then when it comes to BTJ, really tough matchup, obviously, against the Cleveland defense, but he looked good. I think here I'm probably going to ride the hot hand and shoot for the upside with Brian Thomas Jr., though I think Jaleel could have a sneaky bounce back here. The Pittsburgh Steelers' run defense, not as dominant. Like everyone saw in red zone, TJ Watt just lose his fucking mind against the Falcons' front. But their run defense is not as strong as their pass defense. Like they could be had there, which might lean itself more towards like Javonte. But overall, like you saw Bijan catch 5 passes, 45 yards or whatever. They're a dominant pass rush team, which could be a problem for Denver, obviously. Although Denver has a sneaky good offensive line. Ultimately, I'd probably lean BTJ here though. I auto sub Charb for HN on Thursday Night Football, and now I can't use him for my flex lame ass move sleeper. Yeah, I'm not actually too familiar with the auto sub feature that they released, to be honest. I play the only leagues I have on Sleeper are Dynasty leagues, so I'm not doing there aren't a ton of sit start decisions. That doesn't really even fucking make sense, but I have not used the feature, but that sounds like the woat. How you doing, fellow brothers and sisters in Christ? Should I go with Zeke, Tyler Lockett, or Zach Moss in flex? I am probably staying away from Zeke. I feel like I didn't see enough in the passing game, and his metrics weren't great. Like, he'll get another 10 carries, 12 carries, probably another 40, 45 yards, maybe a touchdown, but that's not enough upside for me in PPR. Lockett, I like. Lockett looked good last week, and they play against the Pats. Pats play a lot of cover 2, which usually lends itself to a Tyler Lockett day. JSN looking like a cone. DK Metcalf, we'll see a lot of Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez traveled with Jamar Chase on like 92% of the routes last week, so there could definitely be another shadow coverage type beat, and we saw that with Patrick Surtain last week, and he shut DK out. DK is obviously good enough to beat Christian Gonzalez here and there. Overall, though, I do think this leans – I have to make this same decision, Lockett or Zach Moss. Actually, I don't really, because it's wide receiver versus flex. I think both of them are going to be in my fucking lineup, unfortunately. But I think I'd give a slight lean to Lockett here. Your idiot league mates in the chat. My other quarterback in 14-team PPR non-Superflex is Baker. Should I trade Burrow and Worthy for Jalen Hurts? I would be okay with that. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. People are kind of freaking out about Jalen Hurts right now, but like he's gonna have a 2-touchdown rushing game like very soon, and then people will be like, fuck, that's my guy. I would be super fine going for Jalen Hurts right now. Sit 1.5 PPR. Rashad White, Ramondre, Demont, Brian Robinson, and Jerome Ford. Ooh, those guys are really close in my rankings. Let me see what I have in my personnels. I got Rashad White at 15. He probably has the toughest matchup against Detroit. The saving grace here will be his work in the passing game because they're probably going to trail. I'm going to need to throw the ball a lot. I have David Montgomery down at running back 20 versus Tampa Bay. I have Ramondre at running back 21 versus Seattle. I have Brian Robinson I have Brian Robinson actually up at running back 18 because of the matchup, and then Jerome Ford at 22. So Jerome Ford, as you could see, you literally like hit on 5 dudes that are almost within 5 spots of each other. Jerome Ford is my lowest ranked guy there in half PPR. A lot of it just comes down to the fact that that offense feels like on any given week it could put up 13 points. So, I think even looking at my rankings and then just thinking through it, Jerome Ford probably is my least enticing option here, so I'd sit him. I got Wilson, Evans, Collins, Rice, Taylor, Connor, 2 wide receiver, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Okay, so I'm going to assume Wilson is Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice. Jesus Christ, dude. How do you have this team? You have like 5 first-rounders. You have 2 running backs, so they have to be Taylor and Connor. Then you have, Nico, Evans, Rashee. God, that is a good problem to have. Right now I have Rashee. I have Evans as my wide receiver 7. Really high over-under against the Detroit. In the Dome. Should be a lot of points scored. I have Rashee Rice as my 8. I have Nico as my 10. I have Garrett Wilson as my 12. And then that was your 4. Okay, so according to my rankings, Evans, Rashee, Nico. And I think that probably sounds right. In half PPR, we need to see Rodgers get some touchdown momentum going. This is a tough Tennessee defense as well. He looked good. His arm looked fantastic. But the offense overall, it's still a Nathaniel fucking Hackett offense, unfortunately. So until they start taking shots downfield, until they have drives that are consistently moving down the field, in half PPR, when you have options like fucking Evans, Collins, and Rice over Garrett Wilson, I'm okay sitting him there. But that's a great fucking receiver group you got, brother. Full PPR, Olave or Bijan. Ooh, I'm definitely going Bijan here. I think he's got the higher floor and the higher ceiling than Olave. Do I risk AJB playing on Monday Night Football? I picked up Ray or roll with McLaughlin on Sunday. Yeah, I'm kind of in a sticky situation like this as well, where I have the problem is I can't even flip him for my flex because the one guy I have in my flex spot is a running back, and my other fucking receivers on my team are T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs. So I can't even make moves here. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is pick up. I actually have Tyler Algier, who I can't fucking play because he's not a wide receiver. I'll probably have to pick up Ray or Johnny Wilson and hope for the best. Because unless I pick up someone else and start them over A.J. Brown tomorrow on Sunday, which feels like such bad process. A.J. Brown is just so good to the point that I don't think you risk it for a McLaughlin. I think you pick up. I think you roll. I think you roll with Ray. Hopefully we have more information by tomorrow when the Denver game pops off. But if I'm you, what I'm doing is I'm risking AJB. I'm risking AJB. The upside's just too high with him. In a Dynasty full PPR, who would you trade away and which 2 would you keep? Njoku, Kmet, Sanat. Oh, God. I'm going to keep Njoku. Kmet, is it Sinnott? Is it Sanat? Sinnott? Sinet seems to be the next guy up. Cole Kmet, his usage is so fucking weird, dude. I don't know why. Like, they gave him the extension. He's a much better receiving tight end than Gerald Everett, but he only ran a route on 33% of the dropbacks, where Gerald Everett ran a route on 64%. Their offensive coordinator, bro, is going to kill this offense. He is so bad. Gerald Everett ran a route on 64% of dropbacks. His ADOT was -5 yards. Cole Kmet ran a route on 33% of routes. Ran around 33% of dropbacks. ADOT was fucking 1 yard. Like, what are they doing out? They're going to ruin Caleb Williams. That being said, at this point, I kind of feel like we've, as bad as it looks for Kmet right now, like we've seen Njoku and Kmet both be good on a football field and as fantasy football players, which is like, honestly, more than you get from a lot of like second, third round tight ends. So the fact that we've already seen them, I'm probably keeping those two. And Sinnott probably has like enough trade value where it's like, oh, we haven't seen him do anything yet, so he's like the future, where I'm okay moving him. James Conner versus LA or Demo versus Tampa Bay for flex standard. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's just Conner straight up. I've Conner ranked relatively highly off the workload. I have Conner at running back 13, Demont down at running back 20. But standard, I guess that's half PPR. Probably closes the gap a little bit. Overall, though, good matchup against the Rams. We just saw what Demont did against the Rams, ironically. So I'm going to go with James Conner there. Full PPR, sit start, J-Mo, BTJ, Cooper for my wide receiver 3. I already have AJ and Nico as my wide receiver 2. Okay, so Cooper, I think Cooper's in for a really good bounce back. He got a lot of air yards, had a touchdown, should have caught. They were without their tackles, much easier matchup. Cooper's my 3 there. I would rank J-Mo over BTJ in case you want to be proactive against AJ Brown there too. PPR, I'm benching Marvin Harrison over Ford and Pollard right now. Should I fire him up or leave him on the bench? Ugh. Yeah, it's kind of ugly. I think in full PPR, I would play Marvin Harrison there. I have Tony Pollard ranked the lowest out of these two, but Ford and Pollard are really close. I would get Marv back in my lineup, and I would sit one of the 2 running backs. I have Ford and Pollard ranked really close, but Pollard's right below Ford for me. Would you target wide receivers such as Waddle and Higgins in Dynasty at the moment? Waddle is much more of a target for me than Higgins, just because Higgins' future is so uncertain. We don't know where he ends up next year. We know Waddle's going to be tied up with Miami. We know Waddle just got that contract. Like, obviously, it's scary being tied to Tua. Higgins, I'm a little bit nervous. Like, this is such a good situation for him. If he doesn't resign with Cincinnati, we could see him going somewhere like the Deontay Johnson to Carolina move, where that just absolutely kills all your value. So I think I would rather have Waddle than Higgins and trade for him instead. I got Wilson. I think we already did that question. Would you start? I think we already did this question too. Yeah, we did. People just spamming the same questions over and over again. I try to get to all yours. Sometimes, I think the stream is about 30, 40 seconds delayed relative to me actually yapping about it. So if you put one in, I work my way down the questions, y'all. Full PPR, pick 2, Olave, Robinson, or McLaughlin. Okay, so there I'm going to sit Jaleel for sure. Flex help, would you go Brandon Cooks, Najee, Ridley, or Palmer in flex full PPR? That's a good question. I'm going to sit Palmer for sure. Cooks still feels like a dude where, like, if he doesn't score a touchdown, his floor is unbelievably low. Ridley's probably going to see a lot of Sauce Gardner, so I think I'd lean Najee here in a good matchup against Denver. Traded Terry, thank fuck for J-Mo, PPR. Did I fleece or get fleeced? Terry for J-Mo. I don't necessarily know that it's good or bad. I think they're just 2 ships kind of like going on a different graph right now, where J-Mo's on the up and Terry's on the down, but like that could flip after a week. It feels like a relatively lateral trade to me. I think if you had a gun to my head, I might still give it a slight lean towards Terry, but if you feel strongly one way or the other, then shout out you mama. What's up, big dog? What up, Inf? Looking for high upside, full PPR. Pick 2 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. We got Moore, Kirk, Ayuk, Pickens, McLaurin, Jerome, Ford. Okay, so for me, Moore for sure. because we've got Rome out and decent chance Keenan's out. So you want to talk about upside, DJ Moore. Ayuk and San Francisco gets Minnesota. Ayuk is definitely my 2 here. Now you need a flex. It's not going to be Terry for me, even though they're playing the Giants. Christian Kirk could have a nice little bounce back against Cleveland. You got Jerome Ford. Pickens is the one that kind of feels like he should be the upside play, but again, like we just saw what Surtain did to DK Metcalf last week, and if there's ever going to be another shadow matchup, it's against the Steelers, where it's like they have one receiver on offense. So I'm not putting Pickens in there. It's going to be close for me between the 2 receivers, Christian Kirk and McLaurin. And Kirk did something similar last year where he had like 0 catches in week 1 and then popped in week 2. I think I guess I would lean Terry here. I would lean the matchup in Terry, and like hopefully with them not going against Tampa Bay, Jaden Daniels will have a little bit of time to air it out and throw it downfield against these weak cornerbacks. So I would go Moore, Terry, and Ayuk. What are your thoughts on Tua rest of the season and the weapons in Miami? Yeah, I mean, I can't really tell you anything that's not reported out there already. If I had to guess, Tua's probably going to miss the next like month-ish of the season, but like predicting what doctors are going to tell him, I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge fucking hit to everyone involved. Tyreek probably drops down to like, a low-end wide receiver 1, Jalen Waddle, high-end wide receiver 3. Achane should still be really fucking involved. I think he's probably the one, I almost feel like he probably takes the least hit. Because Tyreek, obviously, like his upside comes from Tua throwing darts down the field, whereas Achane's so involved around the line of scrimmage. That's where all his touches come from, that like the quarterback per se doesn't necessarily dictate Achane's involvement. So with Tyreek and Waddle still on the outside, it's not like safeties are going to be able to cheat up in the box. Full PPR Superflex. I need 1 running back and 1 Superflex. Jerome Ford, Pollard, and Demont. So I have Demont ranked the highest there, and I think I like Demont the most. That offensive line, that offense just looks so good. And then you need Superflex between Bo Nix and Malik Willis. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. I can't believe I'm going to say what I think I'm about to say. I am terrified, based on what the Falcons looked like last week, that TJ Watt might actually break multiple bones of Bo Nix. They're going to be getting the ball out of his hands so fucking fast, they might set a record out there. Then you have Malik Willis. Sneaky. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to start Malik Willis here. The Colts are down bad on defense. Juju Brents is out. He's their top cornerback. They have, I can't remember his name. Their top safety is out. Kwity Paye just returned to practice. He's been limited. DeForest Buckner's been out of practice. They have a lot of their really talented players out. I think the Packers being at home as 3-point favorites or 3-point dogs is actually one of my favorite bets of the week. So this is disgusting, and I actually, like, listen, if I'm not going Malik, I might even go with a running back here. Because in full PPR, it could be worse than a guy like Jerome Ford or Tony Pollard. So I'm going to hesitantly tell you Malik Willis, but, like, close your fucking eyes. Malik or Bryce Young this week, sadly, a real question. Yeah, that sucks. God, am I going to answer back-to-back questions with Malik fucking Willis? Yeah, I am. I'm so sorry. When you guys get fucking 4 points from Malik Willis, yeah, I'm gonna say Maliki, baby. Flex play, full PPR, Rashee Rice, Travis Etienne, or D. Rob. For me, it's Rashee Rice for show. Easy. Need some help at flex, full PPR, Eckler, Lazard, Gus Edwards, or Yoshi Vaz. I'm actually going to go with Eckler. He looked pretty good last week, got super involved in the passing game. Great matchup against New York, so I'm not going to overthink this. Yoshi Vaz was kind of a dud. Lazard won't have the game he had last week, and Gus Edwards is not a serious option in full PPR. Who would you stash as an upside wide receiver? Adonai Mitchell, Josh Downs, Jordan Whittington, or Jalen McMillan? Ooh, I like everyone there outside of Whittington. Josh Downs probably the best player. I don't know what Adonai Mitchell's route participation is going to look like once Josh Downs is back, because it feels like Alec Pierce is over him in the pecking order. I actually think I'm going to lean Jalen McMillan here. Call me fucking crazy. Call me fucking crazy. Yep. I need one flex. My options are Wandell, McConkey, Michael Wilson. Ooh, I like McConks, bro. I like McConkey. I'm going to go McConks. Would you trade K9 and Sharps for DK? Ooh. Feels relatively lateral to me. I think overall I like what we've seen from K9's upside. And obviously if you're getting Sharp, then you have the insurance there. I think I would lean the running back side. Blessing. Just join the Cord. Great content. Thank you, sir. Anyone that wants to join next week's Q and Assault can do so by signing up on bdge.co, or the cheapest way is if you're a first-time depositor on Underdog Fantasy. Using code BDGE, you're not only going to get that free square we popped up on the screen earlier, but you will also get access to the Big Dog membership for the entire season. So, want our rankings, want in the Q and Assault, want the free pick, all on Underdog Fantasy. Lay it down. Join the car. Great content. RB2 help. Chase Brown, Rico, or Tank. Ooh. Okay, let's talk through this. We got Chase Brown, who can't really run in between the tackles against Chris Jones. We have Rico, who played a decent amount less than Ezekiel Elliott. Let's actually check out the snap counts and everything. Zeke played 50%. Rico played 45%. Zeke had more rush attempts, ran more routes, saw a higher target percentage, target per route run, got the inside the 5 snaps. Rico had a slight edge in long down and distance and did see the 2-minute drill snaps, which I guess could be worse. He's probably just a fucking cone, if we're being real here. And then you have Tank, who got a really nice week 1. They play Cleveland, which is a really tough defense. Very close between Rico and Tank for me. I'm probably going to sit Chase. Something tells me that like the tank production is fluky, but his role feels like it's not going to be fluky. Rico's got a better matchup against the Saints, which could be a little bit more fruitful, obviously. Man, I actually think I'm going to lean Tank here. I think they want to give him, 8-10 carries a game, unfortunately, for Jaguars fans. Trade Monty for Devontae Adams. Ooh. Half PPR. Okay, you followed up with that. I don't hate it. I think ultimately I'm probably going to go with the Devontae Adams side here, though. Or you're trading for, so. Brian Robinson, oh, shit, okay. I might need to go back and relook at what your question was. Yeah, guys, we gotta dial in with names. We can't be putting out B. Robinson. You can't be asking running back questions, putting out B. Robinson, you know? There's a little bit of a problem there. Full PPR pick 2. Okay, we had Olave, Brian Robinson, or McLaughlin. Okay, the answer doesn't change, so I'm still going B. Rob there. Malik Willis or Will Levis, Superflex. All right, that's probably where I draw the line. I think I'm probably going to go with Will Levis there. Not that it's fucking any better because the matchup's not good, but, I'm not all in on Malik, I'm just happen to have been on in those questions. Thoughts on AD Mitchell, starting him versus Green Bay over Worthy? No, definitely don't start him over Worthy. Obviously, he can catch a lucky one and I can look like a dick, but don't start him over Worthy. Cincinnati's defense, not great. Ranked team, Lamar, Achane, Kamara, Hill, Wilson, McBride, and Connor as starters with Demo. Yeah, Demo Jacobs on the bench, that's crazy. That's a great team. You just asked that because you wanted me to say it was a great team. And I need 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and a flex. We got Garrett, Nico, Amari, DJ Moore, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, Jerome Ford. So my receiver is going to be Nico. I have him ranked the highest by far, I think, of the receivers. I have Garrett closely behind him. I have DJ Moore-ish behind him. So I'm going to start Nico. And then running backs, I have James Conner ranked the highest there, so I'm going to start him, and then I'm also going to pair that down with Garrett Wilson. So I go Nico, Garrett, James Conner. Wilson, Collins, Devontae Smith, Lockett, Kyron, Mason, Harris, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flexes. So as I feel like I've said 40 times already, we have, okay, so you got a good fucking team here. Your running backs for sure are Kyron, Mason with C-Mac out. Your wide receivers are Wilson, Collins, and then Devontae looks like a smash if A.J. Brown misses time or is limited. So you need one more flex basically between Lockett and Harris. I would probably play Harris here. I just feel better about the workload. Taylor ham or pork roll? Never pork roll. Sorry about the repeat question. I forgot to add Harris to the question when I asked the first time. All good, all good, all good. What up, big girl? Just picked up Char. Would you start him? Monty or Najee full PPR? I am starting Gibbs already. So Charbonnet's right below those two. It's literally like I have Monty 20, I think, Najee 22, and I think Charbonnet 23. So, very same tier, coin flip-ish, but I think ultimately, like, probably leaning Najee there. I guess I could throw Marvin to the mix, start too. Okay, if that was full PPR, I think, yeah. Okay, in that case, I think I'd probably go with the 2 Detroit running backs and Marv. I would play Marv over the 2 other running backs. Who should I go with in my 2 flex spots? Which 2 should I sit? Chase Brown, Josh Palmer, Brandon Cooks, or McLaughlin? I'm gonna play the last 2, assuming this is full PPR. I'm gonna go Brandon Cooks and McLaughlin. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. For some reason, Josh Palmer didn't register in my head. I'm gonna go with the 2 receivers, Josh Palmer and Brandon Cooks. Purdy, Stafford, Trevor, or Aaron Rodgers. Why you got so many goddamn quarterbacks, brother? Purdy, Stafford. We got Purdy against Minnesota. We got Stafford against the Cardinals. We got Trevor against the Browns, and we have Rodgers against the Titans. That to me actually pretty easily Purdy. Love the matchup. Should I start Drake London or DK Metcalf, 10-team PPR, and I got Jamar Chase at wide receiver 1? Oh, God. I'm going London here. I'm going London. Hate the matchup for DK. Is there something to Sauce Gardner sitting out a little versus Niners on Monday? Is there something? What do you mean? You're the man. Thanks. No, you. Do you like T-Law or Baker better this week? 4 point. I like Baker. This is a 51.5 point over-under in the Dome. Passing offense looked good. Detroit's passing defense didn't look phenomenal. Yeah, Baker for me. For my other league, full PPR for flex, would you do Harrison Jr. versus Rams or Olave versus the Cowboys? Okay, this is an interesting question. Oh, Olave. Why do you have to do us like that in week 1? I am going to play Chris Olave there. Anna said, anything we should be thinking about in terms of weather? All right, let's check out the weather report, see if we got anything that we need to know. Low chance of shower. Chargers versus Carolina. Low chance of shower, winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's nothing too crazy. Jets, Titans, scattered showers possible. Cleveland at Jacksonville, your typical afternoon in Florida thunderstorm chances. Coverage around 50%. Won't know if we'll get one over the stadium or not until closer to kickoff. So nothing of a major concern that I think you would change your lineups for. I think the only one I'd really keep an eye on, I guess, is the Jets, Titans with scattered showers. Like, maybe they take less shots downfield, and these are both teams that are not really taking shots downfield to begin with, so nothing I would really move my lineup about, though. Full PPR, big money league for my flex. J-Mo, Romeo Dobbs, Zach Moss, Michael Wilson. Yeah, I'm riding the hot hand with J-Mo here. Definitely not playing Dobbs attached to Willis. Zach Moss, tough matchup against KC. Michael Wilson, 1 catch last week. Good matchup, but yeah, definitely ride J-Mo there. Like, is there a rift between him and Salah? I read it wasn't health related. Oh, you're saying like Sauce missed time on Monday night's game against I didn't read anything about that, so I have no idea. If I had to guess, if it was just like a snap count related thing, I don't know. I guess maybe it was just they were getting blown out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was probably fucking frustrated if I had to guess too. Purdy or Stafford? I'm going Purdy there. Brandon. All right. 40-minute mark. We're probably going to dip off after this, so I will hit Brandon's last question. CMAC owner here. With him possibly going on the IR, would you do a one-for-one trade for guys like Rashad White, Mixon, Kamara, Pacheco, Etienne, or Jacobs? No. I am not trading for Christian McCaffrey right now. I don't know what's going on with that. You know, I echo the sentiment often. Don't draft injured players going into the year. There's no difference between trading for them. They're all the same. It's the same thing to me. The reason we don't want injured players is because, especially once the season starts, they push themselves to try to get back earlier, and that gives them a much higher re-injury risk, which is exactly what happened with CMAC. They kept testing it out and pushing it rather than just like letting them sit and rest. And I listen. If I own any of these guys, I just want them for the next 4 weeks. So unfortunately, it sucks. Sorry. You're asking if you would trade for those guys. I would probably take any of those dudes over CMAC. The only one I might reconsider, the last two, like Etienne or Jacobs. Etienne's role feels a little bit more unclear without Tank. If you think you could weather this, storm without CMAC, like you won your first game, you have a really good team outside of him, maybe hold on to him. Jacobs has Malik Willis for the next like 2 to 3 weeks, which will be really high volume. Yeah, ultimately, I might take any one of those guys over CMAC, to be honest. Even though Etienne, just for the record, would be my least favorite of those trade targets. All right, last one for Riley. London, Lockett, Ridley, J. Ford, Javonte Williams, 2 flex. I will flex London and Jerome Ford. Happy Saturday. Yep, enough yapping, smoochies. I do have Cup for the Stafford stack and Kittle for the Purdy stack. Sorry for that missed details. All good. I'd still go Purdy there. Any ideas on when BDG merch will drop again? Need to grab a hat to throw in the weekly lineup. We don't have any hats in the work. We do have hoodies in the work, though. We are working on the winter launch. The hoodies are going to be mwah. And I think we just restocked on some T-shirts, but there are not a ton of them available right now. You go check it out, bdge.shop. If you want to become a member for next week's Q and Assault, check it out on bdge.co. The easiest way to become a member is by signing up on Underdog Fantasy using promo code BDGE. When you deposit just $10 or more, you'll get the free pick. You'll get access to the membership for the rest of the season. And that's it for me. I will probably be back tomorrow. I'll probably be back tomorrow for a public live stream, around 11 a.m. or something like that, 10:30 a.m. on the channel. So turn notifications on if you want to be a part of that. I'm out of here. I love you. Smoochies.